On this episode of Cuesta Dose, my brother David and I, we have a fun, fiery exchange in the middle here. We start off talking about the Colin Kaepernick fiasco tryout, I'm going to call it, but that's not where our argument was. We talk about Adam Gase being announced that he's safe for another season with the New York Jets. Then we absolutely disagree on the Myles Garrett and Mason Rudolph fight. We talk about Austin Rivers and a funny moment calling for a technical of his dad, Doc Rivers, when they were playing each other. The Brooklyn Nets and if they're going to be okay or not this season. And I bring up, again, because I want to talk to about David, the Astros being a bunch of cheaters and what should happen to them. So without any further ado, enjoy the show, everybody.
One is the loneliest number that you'll ever do. Two can be as bad as one. It's the loneliest number since the number one.
What's going on, sports fans? Welcome to Cuesta Dose. My brother David Cuesta is on the other side. I'm Alex Cuesta. Hello, everybody. What's up, Dave?
Wait, why am I on the other side? Why aren't you the other side?
Because I'm the one that hosts the show, like through my recording. So that I would be the one on my side, and you'd be on the other side.
I don't know. From my perception, you're on the other side.
Listen, your perception. You know what? Actually, it does matter because this is both of our show. But you know what? I'm older, so I take precedent. How's that sound?
You're older, so you know what? I'm not going to say it.
Yeah, don't be mean yet. We have a while before you to be mean because I'm going to be mean to you later. But
I take the high road.
So just to let everyone know, we had a mountain of topics to talk about this week. This week was an insane news sports week.
This week was a fun week.
We chose the six that we thought were going to be best, and we're starting off pretty NFL heavy, Dave. Let's start off with something. Is this technically NFL still? I don't know.
It's NFL. It's definitely NFL. What are you talking about? Okay. The first thing we're talking about is something that I think we both agree on. So we're not going to argue with this one. But we're talking about the Cap tryout. Kaepernick got a tryout from the NFL. Ended up like 24 or something like that. 23 teams were going to show up. They had it all ready. It's going to be in Atlanta. In the Falcon Stadium, they're going to have the NFL is going to have their camera crew. Nike was going to bring their camera crew. But, like, the NFL didn't want it open. Cap wanted his camera crew. They said no. Cap wanted it live stream. And they're like, no, we're good with this. Like, just let's do it this way. We're giving you your tryout. So, I think it was like an hour before. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like
something
an hour.
Like it was
close
earlier.
to the
It was
time.
close to the
close
time.
to the time they were supposed to do it.
Yeah.
Cap cancels, goes 50 miles away to a public high school and does his tryout there. 8 representatives actually went there, but he had his own camera crew and everything. He just up and canceled on the NFL.
And he streamed it live.
And he did all of this. And I don't know about you, brother, but to me, that says a lot about what he really wants out of this. Like he's sending a lot of signals out of this, and none of them are really, I want to play football to me.
None at all. And it really, what it reminds me of, and I'm going to make this analogy, he seems to be that spoiled rich kid right now, that he wants everything his way. It wasn't his way. It wasn't exactly what he wanted. And this was planned, that if the NFL didn't give him everything he wanted, this was obviously planned. This was a strategic move. And I don't know if you watched Stephen A. Smith when he ripped him. Colin Kaepernick, and I completely agree. He said Kaepernick wants to be a martyr more than he wants to be a football player.
Yes.
And it's true. It's true. And I have something to address with Kaepernick. When he was giving his little speech at the end, which the whole reason he did this was to give his little speech, 32 teams, been waiting for 3 years, 32 owners. Dave, correct me if I'm wrong. When he opted out of his deal, again, voided his own contract with the 49ers, he had offered some other teams.
He had
offers. He didn't want to be a backup.
I specifically remember him having an offer, at least from the Ravens, recently, for a backup position, and he wouldn't take it because he believes he's a starter, which is like no way. It's good for having confidence in yourself, Cap. But I'm sorry. I know me and you disagreed with this before, but the man got benched for Blaine Gabbert. He obviously regressed, or people were catching on to some of the things he was able to do. So it made him struggle a lot. Doesn't mean he can't be good. It just means he fell off a little bit. So you need to prove yourself again. And it's mind blowing to me that he just feels like he needs to be a starter. Maybe he can start for some NFL teams right now, maybe, but he's not a long-term plan. He may be a 1-2 year starter until they get their next franchise QB in, because they're not looking at him as a franchise QB.
Yeah, he wasted his own prime on staying out of the league. And number two, you knew I was a Kaepernick fan. When he came out, I thought he was going to be
fan.
I thought he was going to be the next best thing.
The Niners-Saints divisional game, I can't remember the exact year. I want to say it was just, I don't know if
it was the year he took over for Alex Smith.
It might have been. It was the catch 3 with him and Vernon Davis. That is one of my favorite football games ever. I believe me, I love the way Kaepernick played, but that's why I can say that he fell off. He really did. He lost the defense that they had. He lost a lot of the things that they were doing, and Harbaugh couldn't craft an offense around him that helped him. He's not pinpoint accurate in the pocket. He needs to be able to move around.
What annoys me about the whole entire situation is, number one, everyone is gawking over him doing really good in shorts and a t-shirt and throwing on air. And I'm looking at it going, there is probably a lot of collegiate players from the D3 to D1 level that could have a workout similar. Yeah. Put the pads on, put the game situation there, and then talk to me. I don't want to hear about his elite arm talent. A lot of guys, look, I think the Jets had some players that had elite arm talent that couldn't play. You know what I mean? And
Geno had elite arm talent.
Exactly. Geno could flick his wrist from the 10 and get it to the end zone.
Exactly.
Doesn't mean he was a good quarterback. So this notion, I partially read a stupid long form article saying Kaepernick got one over the NFL. No, he didn't, because the NFL is still going to make billions and Kaepernick is going to make his millions. And also I have to address another thing with Kaepernick, and this is a little off topic from football, but I am so tired of seeing the always cappers. That's what I'm going to call them. I'm with Cap hashtag. Those people that are all about him, and then they point out every single time he does something philanthropy worthy. And I'm like, man, if you're a millionaire and you're a professional athlete, you should be doing that. And there are many professional athletes that don't get the Kaepernick publicity that do philanthropy all the time. I don't want to bring up JJ Watt, because JJ Watt is just, a well-known guy. But there are so many guys. There are so many dudes that wait to be pros just so they could start their own foundations to try and give back to their communities. So I'm done hearing about Kaepernick. And listen, you want to talk bad about Kaepernick? Well, he just spent his Thanksgiving feeding the hungry. Yeah, and so did the whole entire Baltimore Orioles team. I don't want to hear this type of stuff anymore. I'm done with him. Yeah, I'm done with Cap.
It's tough because, listen, if he has the talent, he could be a backup in the league. I believe that. And maybe he could grow back into a starter for a couple more years because he's getting up there in age. He's getting up there. So
32, I think.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing is, if he wanted to play, he would be in the – I'm sorry. Look at Eric Reed. Look at Malcolm Jenkins, Eric Reed talk a lot about politics. Eric Reed was out of the league for a bit. But now he's back on the Panthers because he wants to play football.
And the Bennett twins. The Bennett twins are the same way.
They still talk.
And
all
they're super intelligent. And the difference is, and here's the difference with those guys and Kaepernick. And I'm sorry, I don't want to badmouth Kaepernick because he might be a good guy. But Kaepernick doesn't know what the hell he's talking about half the time. Where Reed and the Bennett twins and guys like that, when they speak, they're intelligent. And all of those guys so what I've known, especially Eric Reed and Jenkins, I think they both went to their local police forces and tried to do outreach programs with these guys on how to have them connect with their cities and stuff better. And if Kaepernick has done this, God bless his soul. But that's not what he's advertising.
Eric Reed did get ripped by Stephen A. too.
He did. That. And you know what, Stephen A. And here's the thing: I don't always agree with Stephen A. I agree with him on this. And you know what? I don't want to talk about Kaepernick on the show again. Period. I don't care if he gets back in the NFL. I'm done with the guy. I'm done with him. This was I agree with Stephen A. This was a publicity stunt. He was the rich, spoiled kid that, I want it my way. Oh, they didn't give it to me my way. Daddy, and Daddy being the social media group. Daddy, let me do it my way. And then all social media comes in and he's praised. Kaepernick, you're done.
Yeah.
To yourself.
Yeah, it's a tough one, man. It's a tough go for Cap right now.
You know what? Good riddance. But a guy that I was ready to say good riddance to, who is going to be back in our face because me and you are Jets fans for at least the beginning of another season. I'm not going to say a full year.
Because I'm thinking it's a year.
You never know. But Adam Gase, came out by Christopher Johnson over the week that Adam Gase will be returning to the sideline for the start, at least the start of next year. I say at least the start because if he has a crap showing again next year, he can have the whole entire 22 starters injured. He's going to get canned. I don't care. But this year, he has staved away being fired this year. Christopher Johnson gave him the vote of confidence to be back on the sideline next year, which I think, we are mad at Adam Gase. I'm still annoyed with Adam Gase. I don't care about the wins right now because just the whole beginning pissed me off. But he does deserve the chance because injuries on defense have decimated him. Greg Williams has done miracles right now with that defense, and Jamal Adams is the defensive player of the year currently. I'm going out on a limb and saying that because he's playing that good. And he has Darnold playing better, and I'm looking at certain things, and some of the things aren't Gase's fault. It's just Darnold not getting out of his own way with some of his bonehead mistakes. How do you feel about Gase coming back?
Surprisingly, even though and my mic just went nuts, even though I know I was calling for his head a bit ago.
We all
I feel rightfully so. I do feel rightfully so. But surprisingly, I got to agree with Johnson here for a couple of reasons. Obviously, the injuries are a problem. I do think the lack of heart that we showed and that losing streak was a real problem. But I feel, one, Todd Bowles, we're still paying Bowles. You don't want to pay 3 coaches if you fire him and get another one. But we're going to get that point out of the way real quick. But another one is, really, it seems like a lot of the players do like him. Right now, a new one might not. But it seems like a lot of the players really do like Gase. Darnold really likes Gase. And if Darnold is our franchise QB, we got to help him as much as we can. I just read a story. I don't know if you saw this. I just read the story saying that 3 weeks ago, Darnold went into Gase's office. He was all flustered and everything, and he wanted to talk to Gase. And he was upset about the losing streak, as everyone was. And he said to Gase, he's like, we need to go over the playbook. And he went over the playbook with Gase again, telling him what he likes, what the team doesn't run correctly, what is going on, what is wrong with this playbook, what we're going to throw out. They went over it. And you see the improvement. You really do. And I think that's good for Darnold's maturation process. And even though, listen, I know we faced bad teams and bad defenses in the Giants and Redskins, but we faced a bad defense in the Dolphins and we could not do anything. So it's good to see the offense being able to click in any way. It shows progress, and that does help Gase a little bit. Obviously, we want to see him with at least a somewhat healthy roster. I'm still not going to say I have all the confidence in the world in the guy, but if he can finish this season somewhat strongly, it's going to give me more confidence, especially if Darnold looks more poised in the pocket. Obviously, I know he threw a bad pick against the Redskins.
Awful.
But you know what? Listen,
USC Darnold.
Okay, but he also threw 4 touchdowns and damn near 300 yards. That throw to Jamison Crowder was fantastic. Listen, I know, bad pick. Every single QB has bad picks. And he's a second-year QB. He's, 22 years old. So I know, bad pick. But the kid, it seems like he's going to get over it. He obviously did in that game. Now, we have the real test against the Raiders because the Raiders are a pretty good team. So we'll see if this is going to keep going. And if we lose, but we still have a good job on offense, we don't need a touchdown every drive. Just at least 1 first down. That's good. That's good enough. 1, 2 first downs. That's good enough because that's what most teams do before they stall out.
Yeah, and I got a few things. Adam Gase has definitely done. I think the Jets have scored a touchdown on the first drive of 4 straight games, 5 straight games, which is
the man knows how to script the first 15 plays.
Does know how to script.
It's perfect.
I'll give him that. The offense is definitely running smoother. I'm happy to hear he communicated. And I have to say though, what has helped, I think, immensely. Henry Anderson's back. He's rushing better. Nate Shepard has become a monster.
Kyle Phillips is playing fantastic.
Kyle Phillips. Jenkins is back. And also, the emergence of Blaishawn Austin, the rookie from Rutgers.
I love him.
Shout out to Rutgers. He almost pissed me off because he definitely could have gotten a penalty the last game where I think he made a nice play and he taunted. He stood in front of the guy.
Yeah.
And I was like, I swear to God, Blaishawn, do not do this. Don't be like every other corner the Jets have had lately that make one good play and go nuts. But I'm happy to see that. I think the defense playing better has really helped Darnold because I could see his confidence. He'd do that pick and he wasn't nervous because he knew the defense was going to step up for him.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of where they are right now. And, I do agree. Gase is doing a much better job. So we shall see. And the Dolphins game, I think, was a kick in the ass for the whole roster.
It was. We got to feel it. We got to feel it out. Listen, Johnson said, guys, let him finish the season. If he finishes it poorly, then we'll see what the second season starts out with. So I like the way Johnson handled this. He's not handling with emotions because emotions usually dig you deeper.
Yep.
Let's not lie about this. He's not handling with emotions. He's handling it with just a streamlined consciousness of, listen, we need to get this better, but we need to see what he's actually going to give us.
So my final note before we move on real quick is, this was a topic I was going to throw in, but I'm going to throw it in right now because we are playing the Raiders. Everyone that was knocking John Gruden, all I got to say is look at him now. That's it. Just look at him now. All right, we can move on.
All right, we're going to move on to something that, Gase might be a good surprise, but we're moving on to a bad tragedy.
A bad take by you.
Oh, my God. Okay, so listen. Everyone knows the Myles Garrett versus Mason Rudolph brawl that happened because it was really just those two. I mean, you want to say both teams, but it was just those two. And, okay, so obviously, we're going to set this ground right here. We both completely agree on the indefinite suspension and anything else that comes after it. I wouldn't be surprised if they gave him 6-8 games.
Should
afterwards.
Be career.
I wouldn't be surprised if they gave him 6-8 games afterwards. So let's put that on the table right now because I don't want to hear you go back to that as if that's an argument. It's not. It's not for what we're arguing. It's not for what we're arguing. It's not for what we're arguing.
It's the basis.
We're arguing a singular point in this whole thing, and you're trying to blow it out as if I'm arguing everything in this, which I'm not. Okay. So obviously, very bad thing happened. Brawl between Myles Garrett and Mason Rudolph. Myles Garrett had a late hit. Well, he had a good hit.
It was a good hit.
It turned into a late takedown.
Yes.
Mason Rudolph, it looked like his hand got stuck in the face mask, and he was trying to pull it out. I'm not sure. It's a weird angle, but it does look like that.
It looked like it looked like he was at least trying to grab Myles' face mask and pull it towards him.
It's either his hand got stuck in there or he was grabbing it. Mm-hmm. One looks better for him than the other. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt, saying his hand got stuck in there and that he didn't entirely try to take Myles Garrett's helmet off. But if he did, then Myles Garrett won that one because he took Mason Rudolph's helmet off.
He's 270 something pounds. He's always going to win that fight.
I don't care. You don't start it if you're thinking about the other guy finishing it. But anyway, he takes the helmet off Mason Rudolph. Now here is where me and you differ. Any other quarterback in the league either stays on the ground. Because I don't remember which linemen. It might have been DeCastro and Pouncey. I don't know who it was over there.
It was DeCastro holding him in the way. Pouncey was kind of skulking.
Yeah,
in the back.
But they were taking care of it. Like happens every time something happens to a QB, the linemen come and help, and they de-escalate the situation, as they always do. The linemen are the saviors every time. DeCastro starts pushing Myles Garrett away. Mason Rudolph, instead of every other QB who would either stay down or get up and go just talk to the ref and be like, dude, what the hell is this? He decides to go run at Myles Garrett, charge him, and push him. And I don't know if he tried to hit him. It was hard. The camera angles aren't great.
He definitely didn't try to hit him. He was pushing him on his shoulder pad, more or less aggressively saying, dude, what the hell?
Yes.
Continue.
Yes. But he did that, and then Myles Garrett did the unthinkable, obviously. But then after that, I honestly think the linemen shouldn't get any suspensions because once you see that happen, all bets are off.
Agreed.
My thing is, Mason Rudolph helped make that situation 100 times worse than it could have been. So I said it wouldn't surprise me if he got a game suspension. It wouldn't surprise me. And then everyone got all up in arms that I said that Mason Rudolph did anything wrong. I don't get it.
Because he really didn't.
But he did. Because you don't do that. You don't
Okay.
escalate a situation more.
Okay. Do you remember? You might have been a little young, but the Yankees were playing the Red Sox, and
This has baseball has nothing to do
and
with
I think it
football.
was playoffs, and Pedro was still pitching, and I forget the old coach. He was like 89, 90. Charged at Pedro, head down like a bull. Pedro sidestepped, grabbed the old man by the head, and threw him to the ground. Are you really going to be mad at the old man?
A little bit, yes.
Oh,
Because
my
what the
God,
fuck? What are you doing
that
charging
person.
him, man?
Dude, that
you can't
person.
just absolve someone of anything
Okay,
they do
but-
just because something happened to them.
Okay, but here's the deal. Mason Rudolph just got done being ragdolled by his face mask.
Then
on
why
the
aren't you
ground,
staying down? Why aren't you
on
staying
the ground,
down?
getting his helmet ripped off? Because he's a grown-ass man, David.
Okay, so he's
Bottom
trying
line.
to be tough. That's what you're telling me.
Yeah,
he was
and
trying to be tough.
And he never thought in his right mind that
He
this
thought he was going to
animal-
get hit. Well,
Yeah,
no,
that's
he probably
fine.
didn't.
Fist, yes, but a helmet?
Well,
but
no
a
doubt.
helmet? You're ready for a fist fight at that point. He was ready to fight him. He was not ready for
Okay.
a helmet.
Okay.
You are never going to convince me that Mason Rudolph was wrong in that situation, because I
How
would
would-
say you are the softest individual on the planet if you don't do that.
You're absolutely insane.
If
It
you
is
don't do
within
that.
a football game. It's not on the street. Why
But
would
what
And it's
he-
at the end of the game. Why are you caring so much at the end of the game? Just because you lost, man?
Because
Come on.
because this guy is dirty, and I guarantee it wasn't the first thing he did edgy or dirty that night, because he is a dirty, dirty player that plays dirty all throughout the game. And I guarantee it wasn't the first time that he hit Mason and did something dirty to him that no one saw. So you know what? At that point, he was charging him. He looks like, I don't think he was going to hit him at all.
You
But then he
legitimately
gets a
sound like
helmet
you're
to
absolving him
the
of
head.
anything.
Yeah, he got his helmet ripped off, ragdolled after he was sitting there, and they got tangled up when Myles Garrett instigated it by
his-
hitting him and dragging him down late.
Okay,
This is
okay,
all on
okay.
Myles
We're-
Garrett.
Okay,
All
we're
on him.
gonna settle that right now. Listen, the drag down wasn't needed, but it wasn't the most crazy last thing we've ever seen. And I don't get this outrage over the drag down. Yeah, it wasn't needed, but it wasn't the craziest sack takedown. We've seen people get suplexed and they don't get up afterwards. Okay, so stop that. Stop that right now.
All right,
That's
but it's the
absolute
difference.
nonsense.
Okay, so it's the difference between the friendly guy that you're cool with. Maybe, at one point you're playing something and he lays you out, and you sit there and you turn and you look and you're right and you're like, oh, it's a guy. He's nice as hell. He's never does anything wrong. I'm going to give him benefit of the doubt. But then the bully jerk does the same thing, lays you out. You're going to get up and try and punch him in the head because you're just tired of this dude,
Okay,
because
all
he's a
right.
jerk.
All right, let's.
And there it
okay,
is.
No. Let's go back. No, it's not. Let's go back to Steelers versus Bengals. Vontaze Burfict destroyed Antonio Brown. In fact, might have changed him forever.
Mm-hmm.
What did the Steelers do in response? Juju Smith did the same thing to Vontaze Burfict inside the rules of the game. He did it inside there.
But it was the end of the game for this one. Number one. And number two.
No, but
Number two.
My thing is, why there's no you guys see him in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
Get
but
him back then. Your
there's a
linemen
lot more
already
of a
have him off
chance
of you.
to get Vontaze Burfict, the linebacker, in that situation than there is to get the D end.
You can get the D end. You can get the D end, dude.
It's not as
He's
easy.
consistent. He's consistently in contact all game. You can get the D end. Believe me. And the
Bottom
thing
line is,
listen,
trying to sit there and say that, was Mason Rudolph aggressive? Was he angry? Was he charging at him? Hell yeah. Was it merited? Absolutely.
No.
It's still within the confines of a football fight.
No.
Hitting him in the head with his own helmet is not in the confines of a football fight.
I never said it was in the see. This is why I said let's get this off the table, because you're trying to sound like I'm trying to say that was in the confines of the football game, but it's not. We're only arguing Mace-off, so stop that. That's bad faith argument right there.
It is. It
Stop
is not. Mason
Okay.
did what any individual should do in
False.
that situation when
False.
you are getting ragdolled.
False, because his linemen were taking care of it. Once your linemen are taking care of it, you stop, because they're stopping it for you too, and you know this is true. They're stopping it for everyone there. Once your
lineman
linemen are
like a
taking
guy
care,
that's going to be feisty and fight for his own battles as well.
Once
Tom
your
Brady
lineman
gets what Tom Brady gets because he's not afraid to back.
has Tom Brady ever tried to charge someone? That's insane, sir. Tom Brady always talks to the refs about it. Are you kidding me?
Tom Brady's
See,
gone
this
up in
is-
guys' faces before, but nobody will touch Tom Brady because he's Tom Brady. Therein
Tom
lies the
Brady-
difference.
Tom Brady does not charge someone trying to push them ever because he knows what will happen.
We also don't know if Tom Brady's charging or walking because he runs slow as hell.
So listen, we obviously completely disagree on this point because you just don't want to see how that
because I know if I'm ever getting ragdolled, you're just going to turn to me and go, well, Alex, he walked away, so please don't do anything to him
You're
anymore.
not in a football game.
Even if we were, you would still do that, it sounds like. You'd be like, listen, someone else is taking care of it. You can go over there and just talk to the refs politely.
Dude, everybody holds people back. Everybody does it because there's no reason to make it a bigger situation than it is.
But there's also no reason to have a helmet getting swung at anybody. That's it.
Oh, my goodness.
That's it.
Oh, my goodness. You keep going back to nonsense.
All other bets go off when something like that happens.
It happened after it. So all other bets were still on the table before it. Exactly. You're bringing up the conclusion of the event.
Myles Garrett dropped the helmet and fight him. Don't swing a helmet. Don't be an animal.
Oh, my goodness.
Don't be an animal.
Oh, my goodness. You drive me. You give me agita. We're moving on to the next topic because this is going to take way too damn long.
It is. And the agita might be happening over in the Rivers household come Thanksgiving. So in a game, Austin Rivers, who is on the opposite – I forget what team is Austin Rivers on?
The Rockets. And
his dad, Doc, is the coach of the – wow, why am I drawing
Clippers?
The Clippers.
Going insane.
Wow. I'm the worst sports host ever.
See, since you know you're wrong, you're just getting everything else wrong. Okay.
You know what? Fight me in person when we see each other. But you know what, though? I'll just make sure that I hit you with the helmet and you have to go walk to the refs. Anyway,
so they're a bad argument.
They're on opposite teams, and Doc Rivers is getting heated at a call. And he is yelling, and Doc Rivers is a feisty coach. One of the feistiest coaches in the NBA, never afraid to get a tee, never afraid to get ejected. He fights for his guys. It's why his guys love him. Austin Rivers is on the court on the opposite team, and as his father is yelling at the refs, you see Austin Rivers walking up to the refs, giving him a tee signal, telling him to tee up his father. And he eventually gets the double technical, and as he's leaving, he waves to him. David, this might be one of the best things I've seen in sports in a really long time.
Oh, it's
and to
fantastic.
Top it all off, Austin Rivers tweeted after the game, Thanksgiving's going to be awkward.
See, I feel like what makes it 1,000 times better is because when Austin Rivers was on the Clippers, everyone just called him Coach's son. So it's kind of like he's grown up from it by doing that.
Oh, yeah.
It makes it 1,000 times better. But good job for Austin Rivers. Because, I like to joke around and say he's the best player on the Rockets just to piss people off. But he's actually not a bad player. He can come in and help out when James or Russ are off the court or when the both of them are off the court. He can come in and get you buckets. So he's actually grown into a good role player, and I'm happy that he can go and partake in some fun.
Oh, yeah, he's a solid rotation player now. He's a bona fide NBA player that is a good rotation player, and that's without a doubt he can go score. One thing that you do know about this is the relationship between Doc and Austin is very good. It's notably been good. When Austin was in college, you would see Doc at his games. Like, it is a good relationship. So something like this, Doc knows how feisty he is. He obviously knows his son. I don't think Doc's going to be mad at this at all. I think it's going to be something at Thanksgiving where they're going to be, laughing about it and basically Doc telling him that he's an asshole. But besides that, I don't think it's like, I don't think this is a big deal at all. I think it's funny. It's completely funny. And I think there's something that I would do to our father or you would do to our father if he was on the other side.
I forgot whoever won that game. I don't know why I can't remember. Whoever won that game gets the last laugh. So that's all that matters.
Yeah, and and I feel like if you're on a Doc Rivers staff, you are ready to be a head coach because I don't know how many times I have seen him get ejected. He gets ejected once a year.
It's like Pop, too. Pop got ejected, just last night? 2 nights ago? And then Becky, Tim, and I can't remember the last guy's name. But, yeah, they took over.
Yeah, and it's and it's funny because I feel like they do it for kind of like the same way baseball coaches, baseball managers do it, to kind of show their guys that they're willing to go fight for them and to get them fired up.
Yeah, it's a morale thing.
Sometimes. Yeah, and and it's interesting to see which coaches have gotten the clout enough with the officials to be able to do it. Because if you're a young coach and you do something like that, the officials will hate you forever. No one's hating Doc and Pop.
Yeah.
They could still go yell at the same official the next game and they won't even think about giving him a tee. You know what I mean? Like they have that good relationship. So that's a nice, it's a nice way to get our blood pressure down for you being wrong in an argument.
All right. I'm going to be the bigger man here.
Go ahead, David. Be the bigger man.
We're gonna keep talking about basketball. We're gonna move on to our Nets. LeVert out for a while. What is it? 6 weeks?
It's 6 weeks, but knowing the Nets, hopefully they're better than what they used to be. But knowing the Nets, 6 weeks means like 6 years.
He's out 6 weeks. Unfortunate for LeVert. The guy can't stop getting injured, and he's been putting up great numbers so far this year. Irving's day-to-day. He's actually out tonight, but we're also going up against a banged-up Pacers team, so I think we'll be fine. I know you say here, can they still be competitive? And I say, hell yes. I think you're forgetting some of the people we have on this team, brother. Listen, Irving and Karras do a lot, and they're great at what they do. In fact, they're so great that we had the second highest points per game for a while now. We might still have it. We might even have the most because we just score religiously. We just can't seem to get a defense together. But them out just opens up the door for some of our players that are kind of overlooked. Honestly, Joe Harris has grown into a great basketball player. He plays out of his mind. He embodies Brooklyn grit, and he's all over the court. He hits a three, almost 7 out of 10 times. He pulls up. Spencer Dinwiddie is fantastic in ISO. He's woken up from his struggles in the beginning of the year, like I told you he would.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Jared Allen is growing in the zone. Nick Claxton looks great for a rookie. He's coming out, and he's playing very well for us. We're having Zanan Musa come up and play. It's surprising. Rhodey is not getting a lot of play time. I don't know if it's because of the personal issues or anything like that, but it looks like he's regressed a little bit. I'm hoping for the best for Rhodey because I loved him his rookie year. I loved him last year.
Uh-huh.
So we'll see about that. But Taurean Prince, a very good player. DeAndre Jordan, yeah, he can't move like at all, but still, he's still a good defender, and he can still finish alley-oops and get boards. It works still. I don't know how. The man is slow. He's possibly the slowest man I've seen on a basketball court, but it's just fine. It doesn't matter, apparently. But Garrett Temple's good. He keeps his own. He keeps it out. He keeps the ball alive. He's gritty. He can hit threes. Our team will still be fine. We just have to pass the ball around a lot. Not a lot of ISO ball, which I think we're perfectly fine with. Kenny's done that with this team plenty of times. So I think we'll still be okay. The main thing that we need to get done, even with Kyrie and Karras there, is to get our defense together. Because if we just had even a decent defense, we're winning a lot more games than we have.
Agreed. And it's nice to see Musa and even Theo Pinson and Nick Claxton get some minutes. But what concerns me is, yes, we can be competitive for the short term. But the issue with the Nets, I feel in the beginning was getting the camaraderie and everyone figuring out their role. And having Irving be day-to-day isn't good for them to gel. And Caris LeVert is their second best player. And he was, him being out and him being out for another extended period of time concerns me for LeVert's career, number one. Because this is now, every year he has had an extended period where he doesn't play. And as much as he's a talented scorer, the Nets are going to need someone who can be on the court consistently. Being there is as much as being good. So that concerns me as much as I love Caris LeVert. That really concerns me is his health. And it concerns me, definitely, you said right now they are still a solid team. They move the ball. They need to figure out their defense, but they could still score. But what happens when Irving comes in again and there needs to be that feeling out? We don't want to step on his toes. He's going to play his game, but where do we fit in? This is all valuable time that's missing that once playoffs comes, because I would think we can all agree the Nets are on a slow start, but they're a playoff team.
They're a playoff team. 100%.
Once playoffs come, is everyone going to be secure in their roles? Or is everyone going to know when it's okay for Kyrie to take over and when they need to really move and really be on their game? Because that was the issue at the beginning already of the year. Early, the first 4 or 5 games, the Nets looked like they didn't know. I'm not comparing it in any way, shape, or form to the Heat with Dwayne and Chris Bosh and LeBron in terms of talent. I'm comparing it in the sense of when the Heat first started, no one knew what their role was. Nobody knew who was taking the last shot, who was taking command in the middle of the game, how they were going to pass to each other, who was good over here. And that was the issue. But then they all got together. And one thing that LeBron, D. Wade, and Chris Bosh had, especially at that point, was their health. They were all super healthy all the time. It concerns me with the Nets that Irving does have an injury history. LeVert obviously has an injury history. And we're stuck again with good players, but not guys that are going to gel. And then Durant's going to come back next year, obviously with an injury history. It concerns me. It definitely concerns me for the Nets right now. Yes, they're going to be good. They're a playoff team, but are injuries going to derail this team and their future?
I think you're understandably concerned, but I know they haven't looked. They're not completely in sync, obviously, but us not completely in sync, being in the top 3 of scoring, I'm pretty okay with that. I'm not going to lie to you. Obviously, I think we're going to get in sync because even though you're injured, you can still find ways, and they do it. Players do it all the time. It just comes with bonding and chemistry. You'll find each other on the court more. Like, look at how many times we tried to throw it up for DeAndre and it just doesn't work because we're pushing it too much or forcing it. Then there's times where it looks like it's just fluent. So obviously we're still getting into things with each other. But like I said, top 3 in scoring, out of sync, just raise that defense up and we're already top 3 in the standings. So I think we'll get in sync. I think we'll be okay, but it's understandable to be concerned.
Yeah, and hopefully we're going to move on to some baseball with the team that right now I'm hoping isn't going to be okay for the future.
They're not.
And I'm hoping that something comes down hard on them. The Houston Astros, they've been the talk for a little while now, and I brought it up with my guest this past week, Alan Hahn of ESPN Radio and MSG Network, and we got a chance to throw in our jabs at them, and it came out after that show that the MLB is investigating and talking to AJ Hinch, the pompous manager, Alex Cora, the manager of the Boston Red Sox, and Carlos Beltran, the new manager of the New York Mets. Cora and Beltran were both a part of the Astros organization. Beltran, a player, Cora, a part of the staff, when 2017 occurred and they won their championship. And it came out that their relief pitcher whistle blew on them and said that they were filming from center field to get the pitches tipped for the batters. And the reason why he tipped them is because they did it to him. He was traded to them mid-year. They did it to him earlier in the year. How stupid can you guys be? How stupid can you be?
That's an ego thing, man.
Oh, my God. So 2017 championship, it should definitely get an asterisk next to it, 100%. 100%. I said to Alan Hahn they should strip him of it. And I said I'm an irrational fan and I should have that. And he laughed at me. But his suggestion that he said Michael Kay brought up and that, he thought of is they should be hit in the payroll, whether it's a cap on their payroll for the next century. I want it to be forever. Or a lowering of the luxury cap so they have an extra tax put on their owner. Hit him in the pocket because draft picks don't matter in baseball. David, I hate the Astros. How about you?
Yeah, almost everyone hates the Astros, but Astros fans right now, honestly. And you really hate to see it. Like even though we didn't like the Astros before, you still hate to see when people aren't playing and rising up to the integrity of the game, especially in baseball. Baseball takes that seriously. Out of all other leagues, baseball is the one that wants the integrity to be kept at all times.
Do they though? We see all this stuff really comes from baseball. And
that's
they're
true.
The biggest ones that are like integrity, unwritten rules.
That no doubt.
Time, the most immoral things are coming from that league.
But no doubt. But what they want is the integrity to be kept up at all times. That's what they want. That doesn't mean it happens. But it's what they want. So since that's what they want and that's what they show, I think it's going to be a very hard hit on the Astros. I think it's going to be huge, and it might be something that we haven't seen before because it's a little spooky when you're stealing signs to win a championship.
I hope so. And and I said it to Alan Hahn. I'll say it again. It really calls into question the talent of their batters. It does because they're good. They're good. Don't get me wrong, but who heard of Alex Bregman before this? George Springer being the best leadoff guy in the league. Gurriel being one of the better power hitters in the league. No one knew who these guys were. Carlos Correa was always supposed to be talented. Jose Altuve was a good player, but never a power hitter. Where did all this come from? has to call it into question. Fair or unfair? Because these guys probably work their tails off. You have to call it into question how good these guys are.
Yeah, it definitely hurts them. It definitely will hurt them, especially, like the way you said it. People are going to think it, no matter whether it's fair, unfair, true or untrue. People are going to think it, because if you know what pitch is coming at you, you're already winning half the battle. All you have to do is make contact.
Yeah,
So then that's a problem for them, man. It's going to be a lot thrown on them. We're going to see who even lasts. I don't think people are going to last in the staff after what happens to them.
Well, I hope AJ Hinch just gets railroaded, especially, I brought it up again.
If he's involved, he's going to be. If he's
Even just the nonsense of the whistling when the Yankees heard it and the Yankees called them out, and he said, if whistling's enough to get them frazzled, I would have done it a long time ago. Well, guess what, AJ? You're a cheater.
Now that doesn't look too good for him.
You're a cheater. That's it.
Yeah, it's a tough go for the Astros, man. I'll tell you that.
Absolutely. It isn't. It does not look good for them. It does not look good. But what is looking good is the end of the show, Dave.
Yes. Even though you don't agree with me and you don't see anywhere near my side because you're absolutely insane, it was still fun to argue. We don't do it a lot, and I think we should do it more.
It's healthy. It's healthy to argue. I've had to school you your whole life, and I continue to do it every single moment that we are here, and I'm going to continue to educate you for as long as we do
I
the
do
show.
apologize to anyone that listens if my mic was overloaded, if your mic was overloaded at all, because obviously we got a little heated there.
We got Excite Bike.
Yeah, if it sounds a little crazy, apologies.
But all right, once again, this was Cuesta Dos. I'm Alex Cuesta. Find me on Twitter and Instagram at @Cuesta30. Find David on Twitter at dcuesta308. Instagram at Cuesta Cola. Find Sports Opinions on Twitter at SportsOpinion30. Instagram, SportsOpinions30. Search for us on Facebook. Go give us a like and comment. And also, listen, I haven't mentioned where we could be found in a while, but I'm going to do it here. Anywhere, literally. Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, Stitcher, Deezer, wherever you guys find it.
Anywhere free podcasts are sold.
Anywhere free podcasts are sold. Go look us up, and you look up Sports Opinions Podcast. Cuesta Dos is on there. Playbook is on there. Sports Opinions Podcast is on there. And go look up our buddies at Personal Foul Podcast. Colton and his group over there is underneath our umbrella, so go give him some love. And again, thank you, everybody, for listening. David, any last words to say before we say goodbye?
No, just I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed our first take kind of show here.
We try not to be that way, but every once in a while I got to put David in this place.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay.
All right, everyone. Thank you all for listening. Have a good one.